What's up, world? Today I'm going to go through arithmetic style questions for you. I'm going to help you learn why using arithmetic style questions are better, how to implement arithmetic style questions in a quiz in Brightspace. I'm going to go through an example for you. Then I'm going to talk about more tips and tricks and other interesting things for more maybe challenging questions. Then we're going to go through it, lastly, what needs to be improved with arithmetic style quizzes. So please sit back and enjoy. So with the emphasis of online schooling, teachers are facing major challenges in regards to students being held accountable for their work. How do you know Johnny isn't getting the multiple choice answers from Timmy? Online quizzes are far from perfect, but have grown. Not too long ago, multiple choice questions had a rigid A, B, C, and D. And now it's pretty straightforward on how to randomize the possible answers from the listing order A, B, C, or D to maybe B, D, A, and C. We are now able to take a step further with arithmetic style questions. An arithmetic style question is one that randomly generates numbers and automatically calculates what the answer should be. Traditionally, you would give students a question like the following here. At what speed in kilometers per hour is Captain America running if he travels 100 kilometers in 2 hours? Kids would get the question like this. They would pick their answer. They would be correct. And then if they wanted to redo the quiz, they would get the same questions, the same numbers for that question. Let's try it using an arithmetic style. So over here in Brightspace, in D2L, what we can do is we can see what kids will see using the platform by clicking on the quiz here and then clicking on the question here. And this is what a student would see. At what speed in kilometers per hour is Captain America running if he travels 600 kilometers in 12 hours? So students would punch in the answer, and then they would see if they're right or wrong at the end. Let's try clicking that again, shall we? What speed in kilometers per hour is Captain America running if he travels... Wait, what? It's a different number? The number of kilometers is different and the number of time is different? Ooh, that must mean the answer is different. And sure enough, down here you can see that the answer is indeed not 50 anymore, it's 13. Let's click it again. Let's click it again. Oh, 612 again. Kind of got unlucky there. There you go. There's a totally different number with, again, different numbers here with an answer that is already calculated. I'm going to teach you how to do this with your class. So what we want to do is we want to jump into what the user interface looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Add Edit Questions. Here you're going to hit Add, New Question, follow the drop down all the way down to Arithmetic. Here you can give it a title, a number of points, a difficulty score. This is where you place the body of the actual question. You can be fancy with changing up the font, even including actual, all kinds of stuff you can put in here. You can put in formulas as well, insert symbol. You can put in lots and lots of stuff. You can insert images either through here or through here. So here you'd put, like the Captain America question had. Captain America runs 100 kilometers in 2 hours. Calculate his speed in kilometers per hour. Up next, we can start describing these numbers here, 100 and 2, in terms of a variable. Now, the formulation will only understand that it's a variable, not if you put the actual letter that we might be used to, but anything in brackets, special curly brackets, that is. So we have curly bracket little b, curly bracket little t. What this indicates is that it tells the computer that this is a particular variable, okay? Down here, the formula, this is where the computer actually calculates the correct answer that the students need to input based upon what we've entered here, okay? So I like to do formula last for many reasons, but for this beginning video, I can sort of punch it in nice and quickly here for us. So it's very quick. Simply speed is going to be d over t. Now, obviously, if I wanted to change this to meters per second, what I might want to do is might want to have my unit conversion multiplier here at the end. Let's just keep it in kilometers per hour for now. Later on, I'll do a more complicated example. Okay, moving down. Down here, we can actually input how precise our answer is going to be displayed. Or if we want to enforce it, then not only how precise our answer will be displayed, but how precise we need the student's answer to be. So this is important for significant digits for all you physics teachers out there. The tolerance is also really important and tags along with the fact that there are some rounding calculations at times, right? So personally, what I like to do is I like to do plus or minus 5%. So just in case some students do have some rounding errors, I don't know, this is going to depend on who you are and how much you care for rounding errors to be included. You can include units, again, worth a certain percentage of the points given for this question. Again, you can be careful about the case sensitivity. These are things that I don't quite play around with too much myself. Down here is really important. So you might be asking, there are sometimes important distinctions that need to be made with variables. For example, if you are calculating, say we're adding certain vectors together where you need the overall answer to be positive. Here you can actually specifically target your range of values that the computer will randomly generate for your particular variable. So for example, our variables, we have our d and t, right? It doesn't matter too much for us of our ranges for d and t. It might not make too much sense to have time be negative, right? So we're going to put time to be 1, a minimum. So you do have to think a little bit about your range values depending on your question. Okay, there we go. Up next, we can decide how many decimal places we want this variable in the question that the student sees. So these here, we can decide how many decimals we want them to be. Okay, for these numbers, it doesn't matter too much, so we're fine with 0. Step, however, is going to be a friend pointed out that the step, a great way to describe it would be the resolution. So it's basically the chunks that we can divide our specific variables up into. So for this case, if I put a step of 20, the computer can generate a number that's 100. The computer might generate 120 or 140, and so on. It's anything that is a sort of multiple of the step that's within the range of the min and the max. Okay? So here we go, we're done. If you're a little unsure of your formula, this test button is for you. What you do is you click it here, and D2L or Brightspace pulls up, here's your variables. We got D, and the value that's randomly generated this one time is 180. T, and its randomly generated value is 8. Here's the formula that the computer sees. Here it is with the numbers plugged in that they've randomly generated, and here's the answer. And here are the answers that the students will be able to punch in order to get full marks. And just hit done, and then we hit save. We'll give this a title, shall we? We'll call this example of speed question. There we go. We hit save. And there she is. You've just generated your very first arithmetic style question. In later parts of the video, we'll go through some other things that I mentioned. We will go through a more complicated example. We'll also go through even more tips and tricks on how to deal with more challenging questions and how you can speed up your process of implementing these questions. We'll also talk about what things need to be improved later on as well. Thank you very much for your time, and stay tuned for part 2.